Hello Oracles! Well, today is the day that many people were anticipating. The Fed is going to be raising its rates today. Will Tesla stock rip or dip? We're going to be discussing both sides of the spectrum, what some people think, what some of the charts in the patterns are showing right now to discuss, and quite honestly, I still don't know. We can go either direction. This is why I like to be an agile investor. This is why I dollar cost average daily and why I keep cash on the sidelines to be able to take advantage of any opportunities that we get, because nobody truly knows which direction the stock market is going to move, which direction the stock price is going to move, so I want to be ready for both. And now at the time of this recording, we have Tesla significantly underperforming the market pre-market, being down almost 0.75%, whereas the market is basically flat. Now before we get started, if anyone is interested, we do have a membership program. That link is down in the pinned comment below. I had a bunch of different perks on there. I share all of my price targets, my base case scenarios, my production and delivery forecasts, my valuation model depending on which level you go with, lots of other discounts on merchandise and affiliations in the future that I will have as well. We've got a Discord chat, a Patreon, and I'm over on Twitter at OracleTim1. So now taking a look at the charts right now, Mark over on Twitter had pointed out the fact that on the day chart, we are looking at an inverse head and shoulders pattern. An inverse head and shoulders pattern usually comes down, shoulders, goes back up, and that pattern usually indicates a reversal of a trend from a bearish trend to a bullish trend. So on the day chart, looks like we are about to make that turn. However, yesterday we had seen on the hour chart a head and shoulders pattern, which is the opposite, which is indicating a more bearish trend coming in the future. So this is why in my mind, my gut has been telling me that we are going to see a near-term dip and then a long-term run. So that's why I'm wondering if, looking at the hour chart, maybe we get a pullback and a dip in the next week or so, and then we end up turning around and go into a more bullish trend long-term into October and for Q4. Just looking at the patterns, looking at the way it's trading, this is what my anticipation is. Not financial advice. I don't have a crystal ball. I have no idea what's actually going to happen. These are just the things that I put in my back pocket and think, all right, I'm an agile investor. I'm just prepared for either of these. So now I'm kind of looking at, all right, how can it possibly move? And how can I educate myself to see this in the future when I see these charts and patterns happening again? And so the Fed is expected to release their decision at 2 p.m. Eastern time today. The market is expecting a 75 basis point hike. I think some people are saying that it's priced in. Others are saying that it's not. It's been hard to tell. Usually over the course of the year, we've been able to tell whether it's priced in or not. Right now, it kind of doesn't feel like it. And it's very weird because Tesla has been outperforming the market significantly for the last couple of weeks. And the market overall has probably priced in a 75 basis point hike, but has Tesla priced it in? Or maybe Tesla's just reclaiming the levels that it should have been at previously. Again, these are all very unknowns, so this is why I'm just waiting to see what's going to end up happening today. So I think we're going to end up getting a relatively low volume day for the majority of it until we get to that decision at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then Jerome Powell is going to come out and speak at 2:30 p.m. and he's going to let us know all the information as to why they made this decision, what is coming up, and then answer a bunch of questions. So when we get to that point, his answering of questions could move the market one way or another as well, because don't forget, the market usually looks 6 months down the road. So if they're looking at the market 6 months into the future, they're going to listen to what Jerome Powell has to say about his future stances. We've got another FOMC meeting coming up on November 1st, and then another one in December. So at those two timeframes, he could give us an indication today as to what the Fed might be doing down the road, and then that is what the market is going to price in as well. So it's important to understand both sides of the things. What is the interest rate going to be going up today, and what does the Fed think about the interest rates going up in the future? So very important to pay attention to both of these. So we'll see the initial reaction at 2 p.m. and then we'll get more of a further reaction after 2:30 p.m. as Jerome Powell speaks. And now one thing to keep in mind also is the fact that when the Fed raises interest rates, it takes about 6 to 12 months before those to actually affect the economy and inflation. So when you're looking at the interest rates going up and people are like, oh, they need to be more hawkish now to bring inflation down now, you have to remember that the interest rates that they went up with in March are just now starting to potentially start taking effect. So we've seen inflation starting to come down. You know, we did miss expectations in this month for CPI, but we did still come down. So we still have to pay attention to the fact that, you know, interest rates still have not hit there. Going up 75 basis points today is going to bring the federal funds rate to 3 to 3.25%. That is a little bit higher than the Fed usually likes to have it. We know Jerome Powell is a fan of Paul Volcker. Paul Volcker jacked up the interest rates over 20% back in the early 80s to bring inflation down significantly just by stabbing it and getting it down immediately. So I don't think Jerome Powell wants to go that route, but if we are continuing to see persisting inflation, maybe he ends up staying with a more hawkish stance. Again, we'll have to wait and see what he says today at the meeting, but looking at what Cathie Wood and Elon Musk have been saying about, we're looking at a potential deflationary situation coming up in the future because a lot of companies have inventories. All the people were heavily buying over the last year due to supply chain issues, they're now getting all of their orders in. We are seeing the same exact effect at my job. We're in construction retail and we still have supply chain issues, but we do have a ton of inventory right now. So we've got orders lingering, and then you have to kind of play that game of, do we place an order? Do we not place an order? Are we coming out of season? Do we have enough to get through the season? Very difficult to decide what to do, but people do have a lot of inventory that is sitting there, and a lot of people who are making these buys are anticipating that the supply chain issues are going to alleviate in the future, and we are going to see prices coming down. If the prices do end up coming down, that means that inflation will naturally come down on its own, and the heavier and more hawkish interest rate hikes that the Fed is going to do could in turn accelerate that deflation in the future, and then the Fed may have to U-turn sooner than they thought. So I'll be paying attention, just like most everybody else out there, as to what the Fed is going to be doing today. Again, I have a feeling the stock earlier in the day is going to be relatively, uncertain. Who knows how much red we're going to go, but I think the volume is going to be relatively low. Yesterday, I did hit my goal of 69% of Tesla in my portfolio, so very excited about that. I'm gonna enjoy the moment, but my strategy now going forward is going to be, I'm going to continue dollar cost averaging. I'm going to continue my strategy with this. I'm going to keep my eye on my 10% cash level. If I go above that, I'll just spend a little bit more cash on Tesla. And if we do end up getting the pullback today, I will be deploying half of my cash depending on how far down we dip. And then I've got my crypto, which I like to keep at 5%. It's been at 7%. It's now down to 5.8%. So I'm going to pay attention to that. If I do dip below, I'll probably add a little bit more to crypto as well. But I'm just going to follow and monitor those. So I have a feeling my Tesla portfolio is going to go significantly higher than 69%. But for right now, I hit that goal and I'm pretty excited. And now looking at some Tesla specific news, we've got Gary Black over on Twitter letting us know that the deposition of Elon Musk for the Twitter deal is going to be happening on September 26th and 27th and on the 28th if needed. So it's usually held behind closed doors. We don't get a lot of that information, but they're going to be having that happen next week most likely. So we'll pay attention to that, because that could be when they decide to come up with some sort of deal ahead of the court date and maybe decide that $51 to $52 is going to be the right price for the purchase. We'll see how that plays out next week. Now, also coming next week is going to be AI Day 2022 on September 30th. Elon Musk has given his AI team a deadline of AI Day 2022 to come up with a smart version of the auto park and summon feature for their vehicles, and he also wants it to work with Optimus. So my questions around this are, well, if this is what he's looking for, is he looking to have maybe a Robotaxi that can actually drive on its own with a prototype? I was expecting that to come next year, but if they're going to be having the summon feature, they can totally make that happen. Or maybe they're going to have it with Optimus, or maybe both. Maybe they have the Robotaxi drive up and Optimus steps out of the Robotaxi. That would be absolutely insane. If that happens, all I know is that people are going to lose their minds. But just some thoughts. So I have a feeling he's pushing the AI team to be able to make this happen for AI Day 2022 in order for us to show off, the true prowess of not just Optimus, but the AI behind what is driving Optimus. And I've been talking with some of you in the comments as well about receiving your deliveries of your Model Ys. And I've got Bob, who's got his coming this weekend. His kids are excited about that. That's awesome. And Randy was letting me know that his friend over in Utah had ordered theirs last November, which is the same exact time frame that I had placed my order initially, and my initial time frame for delivery was going to be October of this year. So that means that their delivery, now coming at the end of September, has been pushed up by about a month from the original delivery date. So I don't know if that's because a bunch of people have pushed theirs off waiting to get the EV tax credit, or if Tesla has just been pushing up production, to be a little bit faster, or trying to push for these end of the Q3 delivery numbers. But we are going to just, monitor this and see how it goes forward. A month is not a lot, but again, coming into the end of the quarter, they're probably just pushing for that, and that would be why. So I know previously Elon had said that they weren't looking to be doing any of the end of the quarter pushes, But, here we are doing an end of the quarter push. Now we know that we've been facing a lot of headwinds going on this year. So that's the way Tesla had operated before. So they don't mind doing a little bit of a push here at the end of this quarter to get them out. My delivery estimates right now are 374,000 vehicles for Q3. Troy Teslake has them at 369,000. And Tesla Karav is going to be coming out with his final delivery estimates on October 1st. So we'll take a look at those when he comes out with his as well. Now, Troy Teslake yesterday did tweet out that insured vehicle registrations over in China were significantly lower than normal. So initially, he thought at the beginning of the month, many of us thought that we would be seeing 100,000 deliveries coming out of China, but it sounds like right now, based upon his anticipations with these numbers, that we might not even hit 90,000. So again, we've got 2 weeks left of the month. We'll take a look and see what happens then, but these are the numbers that he has just come up with yesterday, so we'll see if that affects anything. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen today with the stock? Do you think we're going to rip? Do you think that we are going to dip? And what do you have for estimates for Q3 delivery numbers? Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. If you found this video helpful, please share it with others. We do have that membership program that I had mentioned earlier. We've got that Discord chat. I'm over on Twitter at OracleTim1. We've got Patreon where I share my spreadsheets for my production and delivery numbers, my price targets, and my valuation model. If you'd like to help support the channel any further, you can see that link in the description below as well. Otherwise, thank you so much. Have a great one.